Hello everyone, I'm back with Natasha Graham to give you an update about the 2 criminal charges she is facing following the arrest on April 13. But before we go to the interview, I want to refresh your memory, so we will throw back the full video of what happened that day.
Allez pas dans la manifestation.
Il dit que c'est nous autres qui provoquent.
Créez l'événement. Créez pas l'événement.
Je comprends pas qu'est-ce que vous comprenez pas. Depuis le début, ils nous attaquent. On a marché tranquillement alors qu'on fait tout le long. Ils sont venus vers nous autres. Ils ont commencé à nous attaquer. Je l'ai mis sur le film de toute manière parce que j'ai le droit
We're filming it. We're journalists.
Yeah, I know, but you can't run in the
They
manifestation.
swarm us and put us
If
into
you
it
don't want to get
every
swarmed,
single
you
time.
don't go in the protest.
I am
You stay on
filming
the
it.
side
This
like
is
this.
my job. I'm always on the side and move around and they swarm. Every
You
time.
see, that's disturbing a protest because you hear.
This protest is illegal and should not be happening in Canada. You cannot advocate for
Well, they
genocide.
happened because we have a shop that was in Berthay, so they are allowed.
We have limitations. I know exactly what the charter rights are.
So
You
don't
cannot
go there
agitate.
anymore, okay?
You cannot agitate for genocide. You know that, right? Do you know the charter? You can't.
I'm not
threaten
talking to
people.
you. I'm just telling you, don't
Stop!
disturb.
Don't fucking touch me, okay?
I'm not
out of
touching you.
patience.
I'm not touching you.
You were
touch
literally
me.
touching me.
You touch me.
Get your hands off me.
Oh, look.
Hey, get your hands off me.
The crowd cheered as they assaulted a female reporter. 3 officers pinning a mother and a journalist, twisting her arms and wrists while she cried out in pain. Her camera was still rolling around her neck.
Let's go.
Fais-moi mes menottes. Donnez ta main.
You're going to break my arm. You're going to break my shoulder. You're going to break my shoulder.
You're under arrest to assault on a police officer.
You're going to break my shoulder. Did you hear what I said?
silence. You will be able to talk with the lawyer.
He's hurting my arm. He is hurting my arm. He's hurting my arm. Go, you're hurting me.
I warned you like a couple times.
Okay, we'll see.
Back with you, Natasha, and I want you to give, first of all, an update of what is going on with the court, and also how do you feel right now?
Okay, well, the court is going to go to pro forma now. Obviously, my lawyer and I were hoping that the charges would be dropped. Doesn't look like that is going to happen right now. So a pro forma is another procedural date, basically, where the lawyers and the judge have a conversation about what will happen next. So the first court date was essentially a court date to set another court date, to then set another court date.
Mm-hmm. And how are you?
I'm much better, thank you. It was a very traumatic situation, to be honest. What happened? You saw, you were there. And physically, I had a lot of discomfort. I still have pain in my neck, but my shoulder is much better. I had some medical interventions, and I'm less shaken up. I was really shaken up after I was assaulted.
Mm-hmm. So we decided to stand with you, and the viewer can stand with you also. You can chip in at savenatasha.com to help you to offset all the fee related to the lawyer that we found for you. But so far, what we saw is there is a two-tier policing. We saw other Palestinians pushing around the police, yelling at them, giving them all insult, and none of them have been either arrested as violently we saw with you. None of them had criminal charges. And I want to have a little bit your view on this.
I think everybody saw from the video, they could clearly see what happened. I was complying with directions. I was being backed into a concrete staircase, and then I was violently arrested. Whereas I have personally seen the pro-Hamas factions grabbing or pushing at the police surrounding them, doing some of the same, though not as aggressive, some of the same things that they do with journalists. And it seems that there are no repercussions. The law is not being enforced, so it's mystifying.
Mm-hmm. How, in your perspective, you see the two-tier policing in the way that not only we are being intimidated, but we are also being blocked by the police and by the protester for doing our job as independent journalists?
Yes, it's astonishing. There are no laws that support what's happening and the enforcement of journalists to be prevented from filming in the public square, especially this is definitely in the public interest. I think in one of your reports, you commented on the fact that legislation is going to be tabled and has to be tabled to enforce secularism in public areas. And it isn't because there are Christians who are deliberately trying to provoke Muslims in front of mosques. There aren't Hindus doing this. There aren't Sikhs doing prayers in front of mosques. There aren't Jews doing prayers in front of mosques. There is one group, and it's a pro-Hamas group. I think I'm encouraged to see that there will finally be some pushback against this, because I'm not there. What I find very frustrating is that the police have consistently treated me. First, they've consistently accused me of working for Rebel News, and I have never worked for Rebel News. And secondly, they have claimed that I am inciting, chaos basically by just recording, quietly standing there, minding my own business, saying nothing unless I'm approached, and trying to record. So, sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought, but it's unbelievable that it's being framed that the journalists are the people that are antagonistic when we're simply documenting what's happening. Mm-hmm. And if people are peacefully praying, and they're doing it in public, why wouldn't they want it to be shared? Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't they want people to see it? They're doing it in public. It's because they want to control the narrative surrounding it. So they want a legacy media stamp of approval on what they're doing. But it's, on one hand, they're saying it's a political situation where we're talking about, Middle Eastern geopolitics. And then on the other hand, it's religion is somehow included in this. So it's, I think it's of interest to the general public. I think that people need to know what's going on in the streets. And I'm going to continue documenting it as I have following my arrest. I went back and documented another pro-Hamas rally. It was in front of a school for disabled children. Mm-hmm. Some of the children have autism, and they were screaming for hours outside of that location. On that occasion, the police did form a barrier around them to prevent them from interfering with Israel Independence Day. So I had covered the Israel Independence Day, and then afterwards I covered their protest in front of the school. So that was the only time that I have seen the police preventing the pro-Hamas faction from swarming journalists and people who were recording. But at the same time, they didn't want me to record. Mm-hmm. And so I had to back up fairly far, which makes it more difficult to get the footage, of course. And I filmed from a distance.
Because you are an independent journalist, we are doing also the other side of the story. So, of course, we don't receive money from the government. So our narrative is uncontrollable because we are just following the truth. We are following facts, and what we are seeing it's either journalists being arrested, journalists being prevented for doing their job, and also having criminal charges for simply documenting on what is happening in Montreal. Do you have any concern for the future of alternative media and independent journalists who are just simply trying to do their job and showing the other side of the story of what is happening?
Yes, I mean, not many people are tenacious to the point where they are going to potentially have a big target on their back from violent individuals. I receive threats, as I'm sure you and Guillaume do, because we're the only 3 people that I know of who are documenting the pro-Hamas factions in Montreal. And I don't think the average person is willing to have that level of discomfort to pursue shining a light on the truth. Mm-hmm. We record raw, we publish raw, and people come up when I'm at these events and they push me, they hit me, they shove their signs on me physically, they backed me into a wall. You were with me on that occasion. I had to call 911 on one occasion. I was swarmed and assaulted. They were using these incredibly loud hearing damaging devices. I've had lit cigarettes thrown at me. So the average person is not going to be able to withstand this kind of stress. It is very stressful. And then to add to that, potential criminal charges for assaulting a police officer when I was very obviously assaulted myself. So it's a lot of pressure, and I think it makes it really difficult for independents. Legacy media could go and do their jobs. They're making the big bucks. They have a lot more access to resources and security. Yet, in all the time that I have been covering these events, I don't see them out there. Mm-hmm. I see independents. I see Rebel, and I see individuals who I've come to know personally who are covering these events in Toronto and Ottawa.
So far, you're well surrounded. Like, are you happy of the lawyer that you have?
I should say thank you, because when this type of a situation happens, I don't think, regardless of a person's temperament or their life experiences, their faith, their family, their support system, nobody, and certainly I never anticipated something like this happening. I had a high amount of trust in, the institution of policing, and it never occurred to me in all of the work that I was doing that I had to be concerned for my physical safety from police officers. It never crossed my mind. So the fact that this, breach of trust happened, and that I received so much support from people is so touching. It is so touching, and it has made it so much easier because I know I'm not alone. And even though it's only me who's facing, the charges, I know that other people care and that they are going to give me strength. The first phone call I received after this happened was my pastor, and he had happened to be in the Old Port before we were there that day, and so I didn't see him, but he saw your post about it immediately, and I'm so thankful for the support that I have. My family's always there for me, so that's kind of a guarantee. But when strangers are reaching out, and when people on the other side of the country, sometimes elsewhere in the world, are reaching out, it's extremely meaningful. It's it's hard for me to convey how grateful I am. And the stress of the cost is in this type of situation is also part of it. And to have that alleviated is very helpful. It's very helpful.
Still the time, if you want to help Natasha, you can make a donation at savenatasha.com. And thank you in advance to help Natasha, because without you, this would not be possible. And Natasha will be by herself trying to fight against those unjust 2 criminal charges on her. And I let you on the last word.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks to Rebel. I know that you have a lot of people that you're helping with various cases, and I'm very thankful to have the support. There's no way that I could generate this kind of support with my profile, and to have everybody on the team helping me is really meaningful.